Hello and welcome to another episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. I'm Pat Baer, and I'm here to talk to you about something from the world of anime that interests me. Now, I've done a few Pat Baer's manga clubs recently, and I did a manhwa club once, and so I was thinking maybe this time we'll do Pat Baer's visual novel club, but that doesn't sound quite right. And also, I don't actually want to talk about the history of visual novels, but I do want to specifically talk about anime based on visual novels. So that's what we're going to talk about here. And we'll talk about a few, some of which I knew going into it, some of which I didn't. Now, a little bit about visual novels. They are not quite novels, but they're not quite video games, but they do come out on game systems, but also primarily in Japan anyway, where they became popular, they were primarily originally released for PC because they might be done by groups that don't have licensing deals for major companies. Like, hey, Sega made some visual novels. They produced some visual novels, but sometimes it was groups of people that were putting it together. College age kids working in schools and at home, putting it out on disc for various people to go, or then eventually online for people to download. And it's often of adult nature. I am making this Pat Baer's visual novel club, but I did want to or VN club, I guess. It would probably be Pat Baer's VN club. But I did want to give a little bit of background in it. Some of them are adult in nature. They certainly don't end up as adult when they become anime, because they have to be on television. And it is encouraging. Just like pulling from a light novel or for a manga for your anime, it is hopefully going to encourage you to go back to the source material. So if you want your anime to be a little bit more adult in nature, a little bit rougher, or you want to see the stuff that got lost in the adaptation, I have a couple friends of mine who are always telling me about what's getting missing. Like, they missed this whole thing from ReZero. And it's like, okay, what was it? And then most of the time, it's just stuff that would have been neat to know, but definitely didn't need to be there. Because it's like inner monologues, and those are sometimes not as fun to watch in an anime, but are totally okay to read. Same thing with visual novels. Some of the stuff that gets cut, it totally makes sense. And so I'm not going to get too much into that, but I'm going to talk about a few. Maybe you didn't know about these. Maybe you knew all about it. In the comments, you can tell me about how I didn't talk about this one visual novel to get an anime adaptation. And Pat, how could you not bring up this thing? The one with the guy that has the scythe, and they're trying to escape from a death game so that he can then murder her. And you're like, Pat, how come you didn't talk about that visual novel? I didn't. I forget the name of that one, so I didn't include it. But here are a few. Fate Stay Night is the first one. I just banged my microphone here. My apologies. Fate Stay Night came out on Windows January 30th, 2004, with an anime to follow in 2006. If you were wondering why there are so many Fates, is because there are so many Fate visual novels, and or the same one, but it's different tracks along it, because one of the elements of visual novels, because we'll talk a bit about that as we go, is the branching storylines. Now, some of them are just like from point A to point B, and your choices don't really affect it, but some, your choices do affect it, and the paths you go along. So a series like Fate has a lot going on there, definitely more adult nature. There are some things that are kind of hinted at or just glossed over in the anime or talked about, but you don't see it, where you see more of it in the visual novel element. And of course, it's become a blockbuster that I'm sure there are some people that just didn't know that was a visual novel, but they are. That is where they got their start. The same thing could be said about Higurashi When They Cry, which is PC in 2002. Some of these come to consoles, some don't. I don't remember. I think some of these have gone to console, if I remember. And then there was an anime in 2006, and then another anime in 2022, because there have been more visual novels for this. If you have ever come across a YouTube compilation of bullies getting owned that involves cute girls, it's probably from the first anime adaptation of Higurashi When They Cry. This is some trippy ass shit. The visual novels are rough. The first anime is rough. I don't know how the 2022 one was. I do know that the 2022, if you're an anime only watcher, it basically was just like a fucking nightmare, and then they basically pulled a bait and switch and changed the name of the show. But if you're a visual novel connoisseur, you already kind of saw that coming, which is interesting. At the time, I didn't know. I just saw that the listings changed the subtitle, and people were like freaked out. It's kind of cool. Um, Sakura Wars or Sakura Wars. Sakura Wars came out for the fucking Sega Saturn in 1996, making it the oldest that we'll be talking about here. Is it the first visual novel to get an anime adaptation? It might be, or the oldest, I should say, because it did get an anime adaptation 4 years later in the year 2000. If it's not the first one, it's one of the first ones. Also, it came up for Sega Saturn, then Dreamcast got ported to a bunch of stuff, but Sega produced it. It's a big deal that like there was a visual novel on the Saturn. It is one of those games that like got fan translations. I remember people being very excited about it. And like being a sought after Dreamcast game. I do also remember playing a little bit of it at some point. It did get another anime adaptation in 2022, which I did not watch. Lots of ladies. This is one of those I did not know. I thought this was a video. I did not know it was a visual novel. I should say that. I did know that it was an anime based on a visual novel, but I did not know where it came from. That it came from what kind of game it was. That's what I should say. I did not know that. So, is this the oldest video game to have an anime adaptation or visual novel? It might be. Let me know in the comments if you know the answer. Okay, so Muv-Luv. Now, if you watch my live streams of seasons, you know that I've talked about Muv-Luv Alternative. So I knew this was a visual novel. I knew that Muv-Luv and Total Eclipse and Muv-Luv Alternative, and there was an anime adaptation in 2021. This came out for PC in 2003, and in 2016 there was a side story based on the manga, which is based on the visual novel, because a lot of this has light novels or manga as well, of course. I'm looking up the name Schwarzmarken. Schwarzmarken is like a mech series. This is a mech series eventually too, but it's a mech series set in the same like timeline, but it feels very different. It feels like that's what you make. I should also point out, I am aware with Muv-Luv, Muv-Luv Alternative, that one of the reasons why this anime exists is because the groundswell of international support for legitimate, legal English translations. Because throughout the course of it, there hasn't really been a perceived market for visual novels outside of the United States. There was a Kickstarter campaign to do a just one. There was an attempt for some licensing in the past that fell through, because often these games just get fan translations and you just get the game and then you load a patch and then you have some groups or a single person's attempt to translate all the text. And of course it's a novel, so that's a lot of text. That has to be kind of figured out. But I do know that there was a Kickstarter. They raised $1 million or something for this, and it came to a bunch of systems, and all kinds of interest was clearly shown. So it makes sense that there is an anime and a sequel to that anime. And that they went with like the follow-up visual novel that is the weird alternative of the alternative of Muv-Luv Extra. It's complicated. Claned, I did not know was a visual novel, and I guess I fucking should have. Came into PC in 2004. There was an anime in 2007. I watched the anime. Of course this was a visual novel. How could it not have been? I'm such a fool. I don't have much to say about Claned. I don't think it holds up, but I think at the time I really liked the anime adaptation. Have not played the visual novel. I have played some visual novels, but not a lot. But I did not know about this one. And the other thing that I did not know was based on a visual novel until I started doing my research for this video is Steins Gate. And again, well, of course it is. It came into PC and then I believe some PlayStation stuff in Japan in 2009 and anime adaptation in 2011. And of course there's more games. A lot of these had more games, and there's more of anime of it because there's Steins Gate Zero or Steins Zero, I believe. Of course, this one deals with nonlinear time and time travel, and it makes total sense that this is based on a visual novel. I don't know why I didn't think. So my gut tells me everything is based on a light novel, that had a manga, because that's just easy, or a video game in a country that is popular in a country that I wasn't paying attention to as far as their gaming output. That's often what it is. Or it's a mixed media project and they're going to launch a bunch of things all at once. That's traditional these days, web novel, light novel, manga, anime. You just got a bunch of material to go from, and you wait a couple years and then you start cranking that shit out to help sell more manga and more light novels and produce more anime, and that's the world we live in, friends. And then, of course, the smallest category, which is original stuff, and there is some original, because there is some money to be made for cool new shit. That's a different tangent. I would love to hear from you in the comments below about what visual novels you have played. Maybe you didn't even know you've played it. Maybe you've only touched Dream Daddy because you were like, this is a dating sim, right? I'm going to play like one of these like Japanese dating sim games, but made by a U.S. team. And, I guess it is a visual novel in a way. Is it? I don't even know. Let me know what kind of visual novels you have played, because I would love to hear from you about that. Suggestions for future videos. I will be doing in the next Pat Bear's Anime Club I'll go through the results of Crunchyroll's Anime Awards. I did previously I did a video on the voting and kind of gave a voting guide. I will not be covering that live because it starts at 4:30 in the morning my time, and I'm not doing that for that. I'm not doing it. So it will be far after the event, because that event is coming up soon at the time of this recording. But I will, for the next Pat Bear's Anime Club in the future, I will cover that and let you know who won and who lost, and hopefully I'll be able to marvel at the voice acting awards for dubs in other countries, stuff for anime that came out 6 years ago, because I really like that's my favorite part. Oh shit, they're getting JoJo in Germany, cool. So I'll cover that in the future. Leave in the comment below what you'd like to see me cover in a future Pat Bear's Anime Club, and I'll talk to you soon. So hey, thanks for watching so far. Leave a comment, leave a like, tell a friend. Talk to you soon.